Hi everyone, Juliet speaking here today, and I'm out on the Somerset Levels on the West Hay Nature Reserve, and I've never before come up this path, and walking up the path, and it's really quite magical. And I was feeling so low today that I felt like I needed to come out and get some nature, and it's just like really important if we can keep moving no matter what's going on. And I just want to give you, the light's going down, I want to give you a little look. I've just found this amazing lake and it's full of swans. I don't know if you can see, the post is in the way. There, look, see how beautiful this is? And up in the distance there's some swans, and there was something disappearing under the water right where I was. I didn't know if it was an otter or something like that. There are otters on the nature reserves, and it's really, really very peaceful, very tranquil, very magical. And soon the sun's going to go down and then the starlings will start. It's like the water is silk, isn't it? Absolutely beautiful, deep, dark water. And this is the Somerset Levels, and the nature reserves are where they used to be digging out peat. There used to be a peat industry here, and then they dug out the peat, and then they stopped the peat digging and turned them into nature reserves. So yeah, so just trying to balance the camera, make it so that you can see okay. Yeah, my hands are very shaky, so I can't hold it. So I've got it propped on a fence. So yeah, healing our pain. It's relationships, our connections are so important, aren't they? Just we're hardwired for connection. Human beings need each other, and we're being physically kept separate in our little bubbles, little family groups, and we find a way of coping with that and being with that. And families are nonetheless still split up, separated, and just that act of separation somehow kind of triggers, if you have patterns of attachment wounding, attachment trauma, or attunement trauma, as I do. And I know many, many more people do, from stress parenting or war or other things that have happened to us. Then this breaking up of families and relationships is quite triggering when we can't be in touch with our loved ones. And it's hard to keep resource, because the pain of that separation is just as severe as the pain, physical pain. It's the same pain centers in the brain, emotional pain and physical pain. So don't let anyone tell you that your physical pain isn't real, that it's not that serious and you should just get over it or whatever. It's just the same as if you have your leg broken or something. And then the pain of our friendships, when our friendships break up, that's really, really hard. And right at the moment there's this massive polarisation going on between people on the planet. It's like we're all in such a state of confusion, knowing what to believe in, what not to believe in, what to do, what's best for well-being, what's best for our families, what's best for our health, and so on. And there's no direct guidance in the mainstream. Everything is geared up towards making us frightened, and frightened of each other, and there's no guidance around what's actually healthy. I can hear the ducks. What's healthy activities to do? Whilst if you look in the alternative sources of information, they will tell you the importance of exercise, the importance of good sleep, the importance of good nutrients, particularly vitamin C at this point in time, and zinc and vitamin D, those things, healthy diet. Really, really important for good health, and when we take care of that, that can also keep our mood up. But nonetheless, even though there's that information coming out in the alternative sources of health information, we've got a tremendous amount of depression and suicides and so on happening. And it's very hard to for people that are really isolated to deal with that. And if you're a family and you've had a family member in that state, it's really hard. And then if you're working with other people, if you're a frontline worker in terms of working with mental health problems and difficulties, such as I am, then you can get into a situation of fatigue, compassion fatigue, if you like. It's like every time you hear of somebody else's pain, our brain can't differentiate between hearing about somebody suffering and actually seeing them suffering, and we can't differentiate between that's you and that's me, because human beings are so totally interconnected that the suffering of one human being really touches us deeply, unless we've already become traumatized and desensitized and we numb ourselves out so we can't feel the suffering of another. And of course, when you are working with other people in capacity of trauma healing, the main part of the therapy is being present, as a therapist, being really present to who you're working with, to really feel them, to really be receptive and feeling what's happening. And so that becomes in itself, it has an effect on your own nervous system. So I'm finding that. And that's something that I'm well experienced to be working with. But when that's coupled with actually having your own friendships disconnected, and I'm listening to the splashes of birds or something in the water, having your own friendships disconnected and family disconnected, then it's much harder to cope with those things. And then in addition to that, with this polarisation that's going on, it's that I think practically everybody is having some kind of separation happen. People that you're really close to, really love, that suddenly cancel you out, because in our attempts to try and understand what's happening and find a way through, and one person has one perspective and another person has another perspective, and suddenly that difference in perspectives becomes really threatening to each other, which is not normal, is it? In a normal, democratic, normal kind of untraumatized situation, we should have the capacity to listen to differences and to employ critical thinking and just, bring together all your own experience and understanding. And even if you cannot see the other person's side, it's like there's still space. There's still space for those two differences of opinions to coexist. Oh, hi. Thank you so much, Kimberly. So, yeah, we should be able to coexist with differences of opinions, but what we're seeing at the moment is that as soon as there is a difference of opinion, that seems to be terribly threatening, and people are cancelling each other out or rejecting people. And that's happened to me quite a few times recently, and it's really deeply painful. I do have a few friends that absolutely believe the opposite or understand the opposite to me, and they're still really, really loyal. Hi, Jack. They're really loyal, and the space, the depth of the relationship, and there's space that even if we understand things differently, we know that our friendship goes back a long way, and we can still support each other. But for those people that are not finding that, and those, when that does happen, that you're cancelled out, you have a what you think is a deep relationship, and suddenly it's not there anymore, and it's suddenly like you've become of no value, and your relationship, your friendship is of no value, then that's really, really deeply painful. And it kind of, no matter how solid you are in yourself, it still threatens the very core of your being when you're rejected by people that you love. So I just want to acknowledge that for everybody, that this is a real difficulty and pain that we're going through alongside everything else that is happening, and that the solution, the healing of it, is the same no matter what the trauma, whatever the source of the pain. Regulating your nervous system, is still the same. It's still the same methods, it's still the same things you need to do in order to turn off the activation, because when we have a relationship broken, it's threatening, it's highly threatening, and to the primitive brain it feels like somebody's coming. It feels like a life and death situation, because we need our friends, we need each other, and we only feel safe in relationship with another person. That's what we're biologically hardwired to be, only safe in the presence of another person. And when suddenly we're not safe with our loved ones, then that is really threatening to the nervous system, and it puts us into a state of activation. It puts us into fight or flight or parasympathetic shock, shutdown. Our social nervous system turns off. It's very hard for us to reach out, to connect, and so on. So this is the same nervous system pattern that would happen if you had a car accident or an attack, or if your house burnt down. It's all the same in the nervous system. So the healing of it is still the same. It's about resourcing yourself, doing the things that soothe your nervous system, do what you need to do to self-regulate. And each one of us has a different thing that we do, or a different set of things. So it's really important to build up those resources of what helps you when you're stressed, when you're activated. For some people it might be curling up with a nice book, or watching a film, or it might be being out in nature, or dancing, or swimming, or whatever it is. So this is what we call resources. Hello, doggy. Doggy behind me biting a bottle. Hi. So those are your resources. So it's really important at this point in time to identify what our resources are and use them liberally, so that we can stay as resourced as possible, that we keep resourcing ourselves no matter what's going on. And I kind of pace myself on a daily basis, that I know that my capacity for what I can do, of how much I can take, is kind of limited at this point in time, because it's a bit like I'm feeling a little bit tired and worn out with everything, and so I try to stay within the limits of what my capacity is. And hi Dina, stay within the limits of what you can manage on any one day, and outside of doing that thing that you decide you can manage, then take the time out to resource and do whatever it is that you need to do. So nature is really wonderful, because we are part of nature. So I find as soon as I'm in nature, then I start to feel a lot more soothed. So the sun's going down. I'm going to finish the video, but I'm going to give you another little look at this beautiful, some birds were just taken off, some ducks or something, and I guess they'll all start roosting in a minute. And yeah, the swans are kind of far away. I don't even know if I can make it possible for you to see them. The video probably gets worse as I do this, but can you see? The one swan has got its head under its wing or something. It's just drifting on the water. Beautiful, isn't it, Dina? Yeah, so just imagining that. Just imagining in this moment that you're here and you're just lulled by the water, hearing the wind, just being soothed. And just taking a moment to tune into yourself as well. Just feeling where you are, and feeling what's soothing to you in this moment. Yeah, just feeling what's soothing to you, and allowing yourself to settle into that soothing feeling. Notice where you're comfortable in your body. Where is there warmth or comfort or well-being, and just settling. Settling your attention on what's comfortable and what's soothing. Because when we work with trauma, we need to focus on the good things and not the bad things. Trauma isn't about bringing up all the bad things, it's about healing trauma, it's about focusing on the good things. So just take time on a daily basis just to soothe yourself in some way.